South Africa suddenly has more fly-half depth than people realize. With Pollard, Sacha, and Libbok leading the charge, the big question is, who sits behind them? In this video, we're breaking the depth down into 4 tiers, covering a total of 15 fly-halves who could step into the Springbok setup in the future, or act as crucial backup options heading toward the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Let's take a look at each player's strengths, weaknesses, and where they currently stand in the bigger Springbok picture. Handré Pollard remains the benchmark for any Springbok fly-half. His goal kicking under pressure is unmatched. When the Springboks need 3 points, he delivers. His calmness, control, and decision-making are world-class, and no one manages a tight test match better than Pollard. But he does come with weaknesses. He's not the fastest, and he doesn't offer the same attacking spark or unpredictability that players like Libbok or Sacha bring. His running game is limited, and sometimes the box can become too conservative with him at 10. Still, when it comes to knockout rugby, when the stadium is silent, when the Springboks need someone who will not choke, Pollard is still the first name most fans trust. He may not be perfect, but he is reliable, and reliability wins World Cups. Even with all the competition coming through, his experience alone makes him invaluable. I give Handré Pollard an 8.5 out of 10. Libbok brings something to the Springboks that very few fly-halves in the world can offer: pure attacking brilliance. He loves running rugby, he plays flat to the line, and he can read a defensive system better than almost anyone. His cross kicks are extremely accurate, and he turns half chances into tries. But the same question always comes up: can he win you a World Cup semi-final with the boot? Libbok has worked hard on his goal kicking and he has definitely improved, but he still needs to prove that he can stay consistent under test match pressure and kick the Springboks out of trouble when the game is tight. Still, he has a World Cup under his belt, he has grown massively as a player, and he absolutely deserves to be in the mix for 2027. His attacking value alone is something South Africa cannot ignore. For that reason, I give Libbok an 8 out of 10, not perfect yet, but one of the most exciting fly-halves we've produced in years. Sacha Mngomezulu took South African rugby by storm in 2025. He brought excitement back into every match he played, the type of player who eliminates boredom and makes you sit forward in your chair. His attacking vision, confidence, and fearlessness at such a young age has made many fans believe he's already the best fly-half in the world. But for me, Sacha still needs to win his first World Cup before we crown him that title. I want to see if he can maintain this brilliant level of play in 2026 and 2027. Especially when teams start planning specifically for him. If there's one area he still needs to polish, it's his goal kicking. Once that becomes more consistent, he'll be almost unstoppable. With the form he showed in 2025, Sacha is absolutely a player to watch for the 2027 World Cup. My rating for him this season is a 9 out of 10. Jordan Hendrikse didn't quite reach the same level in 2025 that he showed in 2024. Back then, he was known for his accurate goal kicking, solid game management, and the flexibility to play both fly-half and fullback. He even won the Currie Cup for the Sharks in 2024, kicking the winning penalty in the dying minutes, a moment that showed just how much composure he has under pressure. But 2025 didn't go his way. His form dipped, his influence on matches wasn't the same, and he fell out of the Springbok conversation. The big question now is what happens in 2026. Will he bounce back? Will we see the return of the confident goal kicker who controlled games with maturity? And will he be strong enough to push for Springbok selection again? For now, I give Hendrikse a 7.5 out of 10, a talented player with the potential to climb back up, but he needs a big season next year to put himself back on the Bok radar. Some people may have forgotten about Bosch, but 2025 saw him playing some of his best rugby yet. Currently at Brive in the French Pro D2 League, he has been performing very well and showing the attacking talent that made him a Springbok contender in the first place. Bosch is only 28 and still has the potential to return to the Springbok fold. He has the pace to cover fullback, can run attacking rugby brilliantly, and brings versatility and creativity to the number 10 jersey. His goal remains clear: to become the number 1 fly-half in South Africa and help the Springboks succeed. If he can maintain this form into 2026, he will be a very strong option for South Africa. I give Bosch a 7.5 out of 10. Jaco van der Walt is a versatile backline player who can cover both fly-half and fullback. He also brings valuable international experience after playing 4 tests for Scotland in 2021. Now joining the Cheetahs, he'll be hoping to add stability, leadership, and consistency to their backline as they push for more success. Jaco is calm under pressure, has a reliable kicking game, and reads defensive systems well. His ability to cover multiple positions makes him a useful squad player. He also brings strong organizational skills on attack. But at 31, he may no longer be in the long-term Springbok plans. His attacking flair is more controlled rather than game-breaking, which might count against him at test level. I give him a 7 out of 10. Robert de Preer has had some decent seasons at Sale Sharks, but he is set to leave for Bayonne at the end of the 2025-26 season. He was picked for the Springboks back in 2018, featuring in only 1 test, and he has versatility to cover both fly half and centre when needed. One thing that might count against him is his age. At 32, even a brilliant season in 2026 might not guarantee a Springbok call-up. But his experience, game management, and goal-kicking ability still make him a valuable option if South Africa needs a reliable backup. I give Robert de Preer a 7 out of 10, a solid, experienced player who can cover multiple positions, but may be limited by age and recent international exposure. Johan Goosen is a player who could easily have been a genuine backup option for the Springboks heading toward the 2027 Rugby World Cup. His long-range goal-kicking and natural talent always made him a standout. But according to recent reports, Goosen has picked up another calf injury and is now considering hanging up his boots. Because of that, he's unlikely to feature in future Springbok plans, but still worth a mention for the quality he brought whenever he was fit. Moving into Tier 3 now. Jurie Matthee has shown some good performances for the Stormers in the URC this year, especially in that opening match against Leinster. He's reliable at goal kicking and, from what we've seen so far, he can also run the ball effectively when he chooses to. At only 25 years of age, Jurie has great potential to push himself into the Springbok setup in the future. He still needs to gain experience and consistency at a higher level, but the tools are there for him to become a serious contender down the line. I give Jurie a 6.5 out of 10, a young fly half with potential, who could develop into a Springbok option if he continues to improve. Chris Smith used to play for the Bulls, competing for game time with the Goose, and while that Pollard has returned to the Bulls, Smith moved to the Lions and has become their #1 fly half. He's reliable off the tee, with goal-kicking consistency that earned him the Supersport Rugby Challenge Winner Award back in 2018. At 31 years old, age may be working against him in terms of long-term selection, but is a very useful option if the Springboks need a dependable goal kicker or a solid backup player. Smith brings experience and composure, and could play a role in the team as they build towards the 2027 World Cup. I give Chris Smith a 7 out of 10, a reliable, experienced fly half who can be counted on when needed. Kade Wolhuter had a solid season for the Lions in 2024 and early 2025. He played a key role in getting them to the Currie Cup final in 2024. However, we didn't see much of him later in 2025, which makes it hard to fully judge his current form. He is a reliable goal kicker, manages games well, and has shown he can perform in big matches. At only 24 years old, Kade has big potential for the future and could develop into a genuine Springbok option if he continues to improve. I give him a 6 out of 10, a young player with promise, who could grow into a more consistent top-level fly half in the coming years. Masuku still has a slight chance to become a Springbok in the future at 29, but he will need to step up in 2026 to catch the eye of Rassie Erasmus. He has shown he can kick goals and was a reliable option coming off the bench in 2024 after Jordan Hendrikse. Masuku is currently fighting hard for the #1 fly half spot at the Sharks, and his determination is clear. He's not a guaranteed Sharks #1 fly half yet, but he remains a player with potential if he can maintain form and consistency next season. I give Masuku a 6 out of 10, still a fighting option, but he must deliver in 2026 to stay in the conversation. Moving down to the Tier 4 group. Tinus de Beer was outstanding for the Pumas back in the 2022 and 2023 season, and he also had a strong season for Cardiff in the URC last year. He's best known for his goal kicking, and fans will be eager to see him continue that form with the Dragons going into the 2026 season, hopefully helping them win more URC games. At 29, it may be difficult for de Beer to get noticed for the Springboks, especially playing for a team that is not performing at the top level in the URC. But his experience, goal-kicking ability, and tactical awareness make him a solid Tier 4 option in any team. I give Tinus de Beer a 6 out of 10, a reliable, experienced fly half who can contribute strongly at club level, even if international selection is unlikely. Keagan Johannes is another future option for South Africa, who could develop into a strong attacking fly half. He can also play scrum half, but it seems he performs better at number 10. Earlier this year, he had some good performances for the Bulls, showing glimpses of creativity and composure in his game management. At only 25 years old, Keagan has plenty of time to prove himself. With continued development and exposure at higher levels, he could potentially become a Springbok fly half in the future. I give him a 6 out of 10, a young, promising player who still has room to grow and push for national selection over the coming years. Lombard had some solid performances for the Lions and has shown he can contribute effectively in games. At 27, he still has an outside chance to make the Springboks in the future, but it will be tough with strong competition for the number 1 spot at the Lions from Chris Smith and Kade Wolhuter. One advantage for Lombard is his versatility. He can slot in at fullback if needed, which adds value to his selection chances. But realistically, international selection will depend heavily on consistent performances and injuries ahead of him. I give Lombard a 5.5 out of 10, a versatile player who could fill in where needed, but faces tough competition and limited Springbok prospects. Finally, our last option. Sam Francis is another young fly half at the Lions who stands out with his size and power, 1.9 meters tall and 100 kilograms. At only 22 years of age, he has the potential to develop into a future star if he gets enough opportunities in 2026. He reminds me a bit of a young Francois Steyn, combining physicality with attacking ability, but only time will tell if he can fill those boots at the top level. Francis still needs experience and consistency, but his raw talent is evident. I give Francis a 5.5 out of 10, a promising young fly half with size, power, and potential, who could make a mark in the future if given the right opportunities. That wraps up our look at the Springbok fly half depth chart in 2025. While there are a few more fly halves with potential, these are the main players I think could possibly become Springboks in the future, whether as starters or reliable backups. Now I want to hear from you. Who would be your backup fly halves just in case? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's see who your top choices would be if you were picking the Springbok squad.